Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Terp Talk Tuesday with Micannacast. I'm Canada Dave.
And I'm Groovy.
On today's Terp Talk, we're going to talk about a couple different topics. Congratulations to Detroit. Finally opted into adult use. They will be doing licenses soon. We'll get into that. Hash Bash recap. We were out at Hash Bash this past weekend in Ann Arbor, which was a great event. Great time to be out there. And then also we're going to be talking about how cannabis was affected by the war on drugs.
Yeah, throughout the years and how much it's changed.
It's still affecting currently. Yeah. So we want to bring a couple different topics on tonight's Terp Talk. As always, let us know how you're smoking or you're dabbing, what terpenes you've been enjoying or what strains you've been enjoying recently. We're going to be sparking up. I think I rolled Baker's Dozen and then one other one. I don't know which one it was. It might have been Runts. So that's what we're going to be smoking on tonight. Groovy. Groovy probably bring out some dabs as always.
Yeah, from Native Cultivation. They gave us some rosin when we were at Hash Bash, so we appreciate you. Appreciate you very much.
Blanket on the strain. I know you told me like 3 times because I asked you 3 times.
It was a cross, remember? So that's why it's kind of hard to remember. It was 2 of them in there.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm like, oh, damn. Because I asked him like 3 times about it. I was like, hey, what was it again?
We were smoking. So
yeah, we smoked a couple amounts of weed. I mean, do you want to talk about Hash Bash first? Go right into Hash Bash.
Yeah, we might as well. Like, first off, like the Canada Dave said, let us know what you're smoking on, dabbing on. We talk a little bit about Hash Bash, why we're doing that too, kind of recap. I mean, it was fun. I mean, we had a blast. I mean, it was exhausting. We thought we were going to be able to last about 2 more hours than we did. We were out by 4 or 5 or something. We were exhausted, whatever time it was. I was beat. We were leaving Ann Arbor. But
I think it was around 5.
Anyone else have any cool experiences? Like, honestly, but there was a lot of people. I was not expecting that many people.
It was packed. It was great experience. Great turnout, especially for the weather. Like, it wasn't too warm, but it's April. It's beginning of April. It's how it always be. At least there was no rain. It was nice. So it was like 45, I'd say, the whole time. So I mean, if you bundled up, you were pretty good. You'd be chilling, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Shout out to our boy Cannabis Farms for showing up, bringing that 19-gram pre-roll. Dude, that cone was huge. Packed it with his own genetic Han Solo. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher it. Oreo. Oreos, not Han Solo. Oreos.
It was Han Solo cross with it. Oreos cut. Yes. Oh, Lizzie smoking on some wedding cake. Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Join us on Facebook. Thanks.
What's going on, Danny? Yeah, if you're on Facebook, hit that like button, hit that share button. We have the STARS program right now intact. If you're not familiar with that, Facebook, thank you for opting us into the STAR program where we can accept donations if you guys are enjoying the stream. If not, all good. Just hit that like button. We appreciate it. It goes a far way. Helps
share,
algorithms.
Comment, blah, 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 blah.
Facebook recommends to talk about the STARS and their training and stuff. So I got to
maybe
bring it up.
Maybe they'll actually let us not get shadow banned for like 6 minutes. Anyways, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. We were there for most of the speeches. We checked out Monroe Street Fair for a while. That was neat. Definitely a lot of vendors at Monroe Street Fair. I would say like similar vibes, but at the same time kind of different. Because like when we were over at Hash Bash, it was like Mushroom City. Like over at the Diag.
Oh, huge,
there was mushrooms everywhere. You could have bought mushrooms. People were selling mushrooms. It was like, it's funny. Canada just jumped on. Shout out. We were just giving you a shout out for that 3/4 Oreos joint cut.
Yeah, shout out.
We'll have to get more from. But it was totally different vibes because it was like totally Mushroom City and like Fight the Power and like signs of protest, like the energy that I love. That like yes, right, like gets me pumped to just be like, yeah, damn right, this is a human right. Where Monroe Street Fair was just like fun to hang out, smoke some weed, chill. Like it was a different vibe, like but similar at the same time. But I don't know, there was that freaking exclusive blower everywhere. I felt like too. That was kind of bringing the events together in my mind because I kept seeing it at both sides. I was like, "Whoa, you're here." You're over there.
Someone did come by the Diag with one of those leaf blowers at some point. It felt like it was It was
What's
awesome.
up, Kana Colin?
It was awesome. Just being out there with everybody, because like we didn't, obviously last year we've said it many times if you've been paying attention, we didn't make it because of COVID, and then 2020 because of COVID. So that was my first time there since 19, and it was great to see. And the mushrooms,
dude, everywhere.
Awesome. And it was for the decriminalization.
Sign that.
Hopefully that makes it to the ballot, man, this year.
What do we sign?
To make mushrooms, I believe, decriminalized.
Right, but
throughout the
supporting
state.
It's like what we did with cannabis back.
Yeah. We're supporting because they need to get enough signatures to get on the ballot first off. I think they need like 360,000 or something. Dude, remember some of the quotes that you were writing down? I don't know if you actually wrote them down.
Oh, I didn't write them down.
My favorite one was when we were leaving, and it was someone that must have gone to school at Michigan as their first year there, because they're what the fuck is going on? Or something like that. Yeah, what is going on? And
they look scared a little bit. They're like, what's going on? My personal, I mean, there was like totally people around that were just there to that were, like you said, probably went to students, and they were just there to see what it's about so they could say they went. Because I remember hearing someone be like, oh my God, I was like so close that I was almost on a camera. I was just like...
My favorite was, if I can't find it, if I don't have it, I can find it for you. Is that how it went?
Oh yeah, no, my man goes, I got edibles, I got wax for 15 a gram, I got flour, and if I don't have it, I can find it. And I was like, fantastic. And that's like, because to me, that's what the diag part was about. Because like, we're gonna get into it in a little bit when we talk about the war on drugs, but back then that was the beginning of the war on drugs. Like, there was so much to protest back then. I mean, yes, John Sinclair getting arrested and changing the law here in Michigan, huge. You know, that's probably the reason for Hash Bash. But I mean, like, there's preluding that, the war on drugs from Nixon started in 1971. I don't want to get into too much, but there was a lot of tension behind cannabis and drugs in general. A lot of racism.
Mm-hmm. I'll definitely play a factor into
oh, hell yeah, dude.
War on drugs.
We'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, actually, I got a little video.
Yeah, show up some of the videos. I don't know if you had the photos. Were they able to come through?
I have a couple, but I'm going to share this video. It's only like 15 seconds. It's just like the end of Adam L. Brook, Mr. Hash Bash. We had him on last year. Check out the episode if you want to learn more history. He says it better than anyone. I'll just regurgitate what he says. But this video is super cool because it's the end of him reading John Sinclair's poem because John couldn't make it. And you just kind of see the reaction. And granted, it was on cinematic mode, so everything's blurry except for the foreground. But I don't know, it's still a cool video if you weren't there. Actually, unfortunately, you'll hear the audio on Instagram, but I don't think I have a look for video on Instagram. So on Instagram, you'll just be able to hear the audio. And then, like I said, Native waved. Hey, what's up, Native? I should be doing some of your rosin here in a little bit. So,
yes.
All right.
Can you tell us the strain again on that, too?
Yeah, let us know.
Groovy goes to
here's the video, y'all.
Bad habits, and it ain't nobody's business if we do. John Sinclair, 1988, Harmony Park, Detroit. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have a great Hash Bash. Smoke a joint from John Sinclair.
Yeah.
That
was just like a short clip. We have longer videos and stuff. I just didn't want to like play a bunch of videos, and because we're gonna end up posting like different speeches and stuff on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, we were pretty close, as you see. We were right to the left.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was cool. We got to see our fellow advocates, talk to Michael Toohey. Big shout out, Change. If you don't know, remember his name, we talked about him and actually got to join Jazz Cabbage when he was on. Great dude, and now the reason why medical patients can smoke cannabis on probation.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get rid of that now, too. If I'm not mistaken.
For now.
Which is crazy, but shout out Michael Toohey on that.
Yeah, and then, I could share some pictures, too, but...
Strange Candy. That's what it's called.
That's what it was. Here's Mike Toohey, actually. I have a picture of it. Looks a little distorted for some reason, but there's Michael Toohey.
Dude, it was...
And then we got actually a picture with Native Cultivation. So that's just kind of us on the crowd on the steps hanging out with the people who weren't afraid to show their face on camera. So...
Yeah, no, we were back up there for a while. Yeah, see, Native just said there's a bill out there to get rid of that. So it happened last year, July, that if you were on probation, you can consume cannabis if you had your medical marijuana card. It's not shocking that they're trying to get rid of this, and bring something up. It's just, if it's legal,
well, it's just like, come on.
Matter
it's like, that's what exactly, like, what are you doing here in Michigan? Like, I don't know.
It actually makes cannabis, with it being like that, it's like, okay, that makes sense, having cannabis where you can be able to smoke on probation, especially if it's not a weed charge. If it's just like something else, you should be able to use your medical cannabis, because think about this. Like, you're able to use all your other medical prescriptions on probation if it's signed by a doctor, and a doctor's signing your medical card, so why can't you use your medical card?
Yep.
So that's interesting, but not shocking.
Yeah, yep.
But talking about that, Detroit today
let's
officially opted into adult use licenses.
That was a little bit louder than expected, but yeah.
I mean,
it's super pumped. I mean, like, we've been talking about like waiting on this like for how long now, man?
Since they said yes in what, 20?
Yeah, right.
Right? Like, it's been years now that they said yes, because like as soon as we passed it in 18 and we know they wanted to go into it, they're supposed to start giving out the licenses on 420.
And they're going to have micro businesses.
Yes.
And now consumption lounges. I think that's what the push was. Like, once consumption lounges, like once that Hazel Park was like, they're like, damn. Maybe not.
I bet you it was, dude. Like, dude, we just talked about the other day of how much money we saw the state bring in, and all these cities getting money for all these licenses they have, right? So I think they're seeing the revenue here. So they're like, oh, we better jump in on this, right? We've been fighting over all this for the last year and a half, 2 years, going back and forth about not having licenses, but you have medical licenses there, shops and everything. I'm curious, though, how this is going to affect the medical market. And me and you were talking about this before, Groovy.
Right. What's up, everyone on IG? Farmer Nugs, MJ Links.
Do we think the medical market is going to get affected because Detroit's going to start going adult use now?
Okay, so first off, that is the next question. That's like that's the final question. But what changes? So that's the first question. Do you think it's going to affect the medical market? But like, what other changes do you think is going to happen with adult use? Like, that's pretty much the main thing, because Detroit's been like the hub, at least in the southern part of the state, of medical cannabis. There's not. I mean, you'll get dispos that have both licenses here and there, definitely. Mm-hmm. But like a lot of other places are like aiming for adult use, it seems.
Yeah, no, because I mean, where are most of the consumers on the adult use market? Not everyone's on the medical side.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, we've talked about numbers on the episode, Groovy, where the medical pricing and sales has decreased. I mean, some months it's gone up, it's beat the other month, but then it's gone down, right? So it's just an interesting topic. I don't think they should get rid of it at all. Like, I think you need the caregiver system here in Michigan. I think it's a great system we have in place that you can provide cannabis to people that can't afford the dispo pricing, right?
Well, or need specialty needs or specialty strains or specifics, right? Because that's like, to me, the foundation of the medicinal program, and actually the whole program here in Michigan, what gives us the power when you compare it to states like New Jersey is the fact that we can grow our own medicinally and adult use, right? Like, these are like the perks. You know, you see New Jersey, they can't even grow, you know, or wait, is it 2 plants? There's New Jersey can't grow. New Jersey can't grow. So to me, it's like, that's the point of the medicinal system. Like, yeah, if the shops have it, yay or nay, that'll be cool. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see the adult use market get rid of the medical market, because the medical market isn't even aimed for dispensaries. Like, that was just, in my opinion, like, it was aimed for the caregivers. Just, I mean, dispensaries are important, but like,
well, the medical market did have it was part of why the dispensaries are there, but it just wasn't written in the law perfectly, and that's why it took so long to actually have the legal dispensaries. You're going to see now, once they have all these shops open up in Detroit, in my opinion, you're going to have a lot of people that might not be renewing their cards now in the city of Detroit, or even around the city, certain areas, because you can just be able to go to Detroit and pick up your weed. Like, people have been going for a while. I mean, for me, that's usually, honestly, where I'm usually at, is in the Detroit market, usually picking up medical, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
so
you're bringing a lot of competition now.
But here's the thing, though. A lot of these businesses in Detroit deserve it. They've been waiting for adult use while all these other cities are making money. You know, like, you have all these brands that have set up shop that have been there for medical for years. Now it's their opportunity to finally get the adult use, which I think will be big. And I'm excited to see the consumption lounges. And I'm curious which shop is going to open up closest to the sporting venues, because I think whatever one does there is just going to bank money, dude.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere,
you mean like by Little Caesars or something,
or Comerica, Ford Field. If you're anywhere in that,
yeah,
like,
but think about someone. I mean, maybe. See, the thing is, I don't think
money.
Like the central business district down, you would really get a lot of hopping, like where Campus Martius is. I don't think that would get a lot of sales. Like, that's families and stuff. Like, But I do think you're right. Like in those type of like sporting areas, where people are like, we're getting fucked up type of things. Like, yeah, that's.
I could see one. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be one that might be more on the capital ventures or the big corporate side. But
yeah, what's up, Ryan? What's going on? He's smoking on oh my god, Gemini by Lemonade Farms.
Oh, nice. How was that? How's that taste?
Eating cinnamon, apple, THC, Louisiana. Oh my God, Ruby can't read for 200. Louisiana. Oh my God, say Louisiana. It says like Lowe's and Wrench. Oh my God.
I don't know how you get Louisiana out of that. We're gonna take a break.
No,
everybody.
we're not taking a break. No, Ruby's just feeling groovy.
This guy's not riding the struggle bus over here.
Smoked, man.
This guy's riding the struggle bus.
We almost smoked hash today, and I would have been litty. We haven't even got to like the content that actually I have to remember.
That will be on Saturday. We'll be smoking the hash and the hoobie. If you didn't check our story, we checked out Winewood actually at Hash Bash, actually their shop, and they released pre-rolls with hash infused in them, and then they also had little small hashies. I'm blanking on the exact measurements on each one, but we'll be smoking those on Saturday. Very good though. That hoobie,
yeah,
dude. I don't know if it was because we were so lit from the day, but at the end of that, I was so high. I was pretty much good for like a while. I was like, dude, I'm. I
mean, it tastes like hash, like, but there was like when I smoked that thing yesterday, I was lit just from that thing. Like, and I shared it. Like, so, you know, it got me just as much as it got you. What's up, Mark? Native, still smoking on that Georgia pie. Hell yeah. Well, I will be dabbing your stuff once I put this joint out.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for that dab, you know.
What? I didn't think you were getting one.
Whoa, man.
$5.
I want that dab.
$5. We definitely need to do a meetup at the lounge once it's open and going. I'm really interested to see how the system works. Yeah. Trust me, we've already been reaching out to the consumption line and stuff.
Yeah, we're actually hoping to talk to them and get a private event.
Yeah, we'll
so
see.
We can actually have a
smoking meetup.
Yes, we can actually consume cannabis. Maybe we'll get Groovy to spin some tracks or something. You know.
I don't even do music. So never even.
Maybe get him on the
music.
All right. Never mind then. Okay. Just hating.
Just talking shit. Yeah, but
it'd be cool though. I mean, I'm excited
definitely
for the consumption lounges. I think it'd be a cool little spot for the meetups, the smoke. Obviously, you gotta bring your own product, but if it's not that expensive to get in and you just want to go smoke out somewhere
think about it. I mean, starting these dispensaries that are in areas, they start making like partnerships with consumption lounges and stuff and give you discounts. Like eventually you'll be going to those dispos that are around there. They'll all be delivery because you can get delivery. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's anything that crazy.
Yo, what up, Dave?
What up, fam?
What's up, Mark?
That white. Oh yeah, Lizzie got that White Buffalo pack from you and loved it.
That's right. Was at the event.
Smoking on some Azor, homegrown. Gotta love the homegrown. See, that's my point. Like, I mean, I don't mean to get back into the Detroit stuff too much, but like that's kind of the point. Is you want to be able to grow your own. You don't want to see it just controlled, and that's why I just hope that the medicinal market stays, because then there'll always be an affordable price and discounts. Because remember, when you go to those adult use places, a lot of times you can get discounts from your medical card. Not all the time, but half the time.
Some not recommend, but some do give you it, which is great. They'll knock it just down.
10% off, you know.
Can't beat it. Saving money.
Yeah, well, and also it covers that cost that you're not used to spending, but also still allows you to go to an adult use shop.
I think it's good because you're going to
spend the same price.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's essentially the point of the medicinal market, is to keep it more affordable and more unique and controlled for them, you know, for the user. It's not about the business. Adult use is where you make your money, you know?
Well, yeah, because so many consumers. Think about the foot traffic you have coming.
Ryan actually asked a really good question. He said, what lounges are here already? Well, right now it's just Hotbox Social in Hamtramck.
No.
I'm sorry, Hazel Park. Wrong H.
Yeah.
And then,
but it's not open to the public though yet. It's only private. It's still private event.
Right.
So you have to have a private event or know someone that's throwing a private event to be able to attend it. I believe in the summer they're supposed to open it. It's a pretty big. We were talking about it. It's a pretty big area. Like they might be able to do barbecues outside and stuff in the summer.
We'll see how it works. I don't know how consumption works outside. You could probably cook outside and then, you know, bring the food inside. You can't smoke outside yet.
I don't know if it's.
New York.
Unless it's a fenced. It's private. That's private property at that point. If there's a fence around it, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, think about it. It's a consumption lounge, dude. Like
you're saying you're in Ann Arbor. Like it doesn't already smell like weed now.
You can't smoke. You're telling me I can't smoke outside? I mean, maybe not right out front, but in the back of the building. I don't know. I'm just assuming I'm assuming you could. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right?
I don't know. That would just be my opinion. Like if you're able to, but you never know. It's cannabis, so.
Andy, we actually just talked about Hash Bash. It was great. We played a little clip. We got some good footage. We'll definitely be posting more footage in the soon in the future. But
Yo, what's up, Nick?
What's up, Nick? Oh, how's Cali? What's up, Em?
Tuning in from Cali. I appreciate that. What's up?
Hell yeah.
Damn, I forgot we were still smoking this, dude.
I've been holding it that long.
Yeah, it's been like, I feel like 10 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
Oops. Sucks we can't leave.
I know, the spark round too.
Yeah, I guess. No, I gotta pack this dab.
It's almost dab time.
Yeah, but just, I mean, if you're just joining with us, let us know what you're smoking on, dabbing on as always. What the hell was I about to say? Oh yeah, Detroit. When adult use, that's what we were talking about, and then just kind of recatching up on Hash Bash a bit.
Yeah, I'm excited for more cannabis events for us to attend this summer. If anyone knows any upcoming in the summer, always drop them in the comments. We're trying to attend some more of them. Obviously, Hash Bash is one of the biggest ones here in Michigan, dating back with all the history with it. But there are now cannabis events popping up due to it being legal. So we'll be talking about that, and excited to see some more of these coming up in the future. And did you want to go into the topic of today you want to talk about, Groovy?
I mean, we probably should, because we're but we're already like over. We're like 30% in the show, so we will go back and forth. I feel like it's going to take a little while to talk about all of it, and definitely share some insight, because we have not been alive the whole time the war on drugs has been going on. So if anyone wants to be like, wrong, please let us know. Like I'm solely
wrong.
You know what I mean? Like, just keep it real here, because we're trying to keep it the realest as we can. But essentially, the war on drugs goes all the way back until the 1970s, which is 71, when Nixon introduced the war on drugs.
Boo.
Yeah, like Nixon and Reagan every time. That's what the sound they get. But the thing is, it's kind of been, it happened and then it got revamped in the 90s by Reagan. So essentially, in 1971, Nixon enforced these unrealistic rules too. I guess it was by 1973 that they enforced these, what was it called? Not the Kennedy rules. I'm blanking exactly on what it's called. The Rockefeller Laws, which was mandated lengthy prison sentences for people convicted of a range of felon drug offenses. So essentially, in 71, it was introduced. Nixon. 72 was when we had Hash Bash and all the rebellion here in Michigan that changed cannabis laws. So I'm just giving you like a timeline. 73, they started basically giving you long, hard sentences for like drugs no matter what. And it kind of got, I don't know how to say it, unfair.
Or pretty
and especially because it was definitely against people of color. So there was a lot of racist ties going on back then. It's just was crazy. Crazy times. So,
well, I mean, to see, like, even when you talk about the number of arrests, like, I think there was like a number of arrests from like 19.
Well, they talk about it that it was like 50,000 or 40,000 people in the 70s, and then by the 80s, like once all these laws were in effect and the war on drugs was starting to get pushed, and in the 80s they had the crack epidemic, which again was against towards people of color, which, I'm not saying I can understand, but I'm just saying these are the facts. They definitely were racist ties to it. And because crack and cocaine were the same shit, but crack was labeled as like, oh, this horrible thing, but cocaine was like glamorous, even though they're the same drug, essentially. So just a lot of racist ties for years. And, as we go through, I mean, there's some good articles out there that we found and that discuss things.
Yeah, and the article I'm reading on from drugpolicy.org.
Yeah, that was the best one I found.
The number of people behind bars for nonviolent drug law offenses increased from 50,000 in 1980 to over 400,000 by 1997.
Nuts.
And dude, think about this now. I mean, nowadays you have all the private jails. Yep. I mean, it's ridiculous. Those are profit businesses. It's not. you shouldn't be going to jail for like a joint, like what it was, or if you got caught with a couple joints, you're going to jail. Like, isn't that just ridiculous to go to jail, like mandatory, like 180 days or something?
Well, that's kind of what the thing is. Like, I mean, by 73, they're already forcing like mandated laws where they kind of made the judges and the cops, like, I mean, tools of the government, essentially. You know what I mean? And they get into more things, talking about how there was like safety net programs that they started getting rid of at the same time, which were essentially, it sounded like government assisted programs, but again, they were like targeting people of poverty, you know, right. And you know, people of color, you know, and it was just clear. There's actually a really good video that I found that we were gonna play.
It's like a short 3-minute video, real quick.
Yeah, it just really put into great words, and it was
so roll up
read by Jay-Z. Yeah, and it's illustrations by Molly Crabable, I believe, and it's from Prohibition to the Gold Rush. And this just kind of puts a good understanding of like where it started to where we are-ish now. I think this was technically in 15, so it's kind of like ended.
It's a couple years old.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So
I think it was a little bit. I think it was like 16 or 17, so no, it's not too
Yeah, so roll up a joint, pack a dab, let us know what you're smoking on, dabbing on, let us know if you know anyone that's affected on the war on drugs, has affected you personally. Let us know, because this video is informative, but I really enjoy it, so we just wanted to share it. It's only a couple minutes, so yeah, here we go. Let me see if I can pull that up. Here we go.
In 1986, when I was coming of age, Ronald Reagan doubled down on the war on drugs that had been started by Richard Nixon in 1971. Drugs were bad, fried your brain, and drug dealers were monsters, the sole reason neighborhoods and major cities were failing. No one wanted to talk about Reaganomics and the ending of social safety nets, the defunding of schools and the loss of jobs in cities across America. Young men like me who hustled became the sole villain, and drug addicts lacked moral fortitude. In the 1990s, incarceration rates in the U.S. blew up. Today, we imprison more people than any other country in the world. China, Russia, Iran, Cuba. All countries we consider autocratic and repressive. Yeah, more than them. Judges' hands were tied by tough-on-crime laws, and they were forced to hand out mandatory life sentences for simple possession and low-level drug sales. My home state of New York started this with Rockefeller Laws. Then the feds made distinctions between people who sold powder cocaine and crack cocaine, even though they were the same drug. Only difference is how you take it. And even though white people used and sold crack more than black people, somehow it was black people who went to prison. The media ignored actual data to this day. Crack is still talked about as a black problem. The NYPD raided our Brooklyn neighborhoods while Manhattan bankers openly used coke with impunity. The war on drugs exploded the U.S. prison population, disproportionately locking away black and Latinos. Our prison population grew more than 900%. When the war on drugs began in 1971, our prison population was 200,000. Today it is over 2 million. Long after the crack era ended, we continued our war on drugs. There were more than 1.5 million drug arrests in 2014. More than 80% were for possession only. Almost half were for marijuana. People are finally talking about treating addiction to harder drugs as a health crisis, but there's no compassionate language about drug dealers. Unless, of course, we're talking about places like Colorado, whose state economy got a huge boost by the above-ground marijuana industry. A few states south in Louisiana, they're still handing out mandatory sentences for people who sell weed. Despite a booming and celebrated 50 billion legal marijuana industry, most states still disproportionately hand out mandatory sentences to black and Latinos with drug cases. If you're entrepreneurial and live in one of the many states that are passing legalized laws, you may still face barriers participating in the above-ground economy. Venture capitalists migrate to these states to open multi-billion-dollar operations, but former felons can't open a dispensary. Lots of times those felonies were drug charges, caught by poor people who sold drugs for a living, but are now prohibited from participating in one of the fastest growing economies. Got it? In states like New York, where holding marijuana is no longer grounds for arrest, police issue possession citations in black and Latino neighborhoods at a far higher rate than other neighborhoods. Kids in Crown Heights are constantly stopped and ticketed for trees. Kids at dorms in Columbia where rates of marijuana use are equal to or worse than those in the hood, are never targeted or ticketed. Rates of drug use are as high as they were when Nixon declared this so-called war in 1971. 45 years later, it's time to rethink our policies and laws. The war on drugs is an epic fail.
Yeah. So crazy, huh?
Yeah, pretty messed up. I mean, pretty much everything talked about is stuff that we've talked about, Groovy. And you do see the venture capitalists. That's like one thing that stick out to me. They're the first companies that are setting up shop in all the new states that are going legal because they're the ones that have the capital. They're the ones that have the money, the backing, just to go boom in. Oh, now that it's legal, I'm gonna spend all my money in it. I'm not gonna. I haven't smoked weed before, or I smoked weed once in like college, just to try it. But it's so messed up. It's so messed up that then you have people that have been held back due to the system and can't even get a job in the industry because they have something on the record, or B, they don't have the capital now to get into the industry. Like one of the main things for me when I went through the raid, Groovy, I always thought like, oh shit, if I get charged with anything, because I was facing the 7 felonies. If I got charged with anything, I was assuming that I wouldn't be able to ever work in the cannabis industry ever. Like, and it's a dream. It's a dream eventually to maybe one day get a grow license, grow some cannabis product, and be able to have some of the product on store shelves. That'd be awesome. But like, I think in Michigan that they kind of changed that, so it kind of went away. But for anybody else having charges or getting a probation violation or some, not probation, like a small possession charge or something like that, and again, that gets held back. Like you get held back from anything in the industry, while somebody that has never been in or just has money backing is able to take over the industry. Like,
well, because it's ironic that the charges are now making them money where it holds the other people back. And again, that's why I said it's been systematic. I mean, it's been racism since people of color. I mean, in the article, they even touch out, like in the end of the 1800s, that when the opium was still legal, that was targeted towards Chinese immigrants. Like, it always seems like this control over drugs seems to be some type of like, oh, we don't understand this new culture, so we're just gonna it's illegal, it's bad, and they put this bad red flag on it where it's like, look how damaging it's been towards the stigma of cannabis, and for people of color. I can't personally speak from that perspective, like all I can say is that it obviously was built on racist foundations, all these war on drugs and all this stuff, and it's wrong, and that's all I could say on that, because I can't speak.
Well, that's why it's good that you have states that they do have the social equity programs, or they're not looking at some of those charges or anything like that and they're getting rid of those, like the clean slate bill here, getting rid of those smaller misdemeanors and stuff like that. Like, that's good. Everyone should have the opportunity to be able to get in the industry, or even if you don't even want to get in the industry and you have any charge holding you back anywhere else in your career, like that shouldn't be there. Like, you should be able to get a job just because it was cannabis. Should not affect anything.
Oh, and pack that dab, smoke that joint, whatever. We're about to take a dab at rosin from Native Cultivation. Shout out, thanks.
Strange candy.
Up in Traverse City. But like, I mean, like, there's so much repression built around, like, I mean, Ron just brought it up in the comments that the word marijuana is built on racism, and that's why a lot of people, and that's why he says cannabis. And absolutely, we switched to cannabis when we found that out like years ago. And sometimes and even just saying weed, or like we try to say cannabis, but sometimes it's just, you don't want to say cannabis every 4 seconds, so you reword it. But absolutely, like, there's some foundations in like the word marijuana where like, that was, so it's been like systematic for so many years. It's wild, And look at Andy we didn't even touch on Reefer Madness really kicking it all in 1936, right? And that even goes.
I almost watched that movie the other day.
Well, see, and that's like,
it's on Hulu.
It's almost like, all right, so it's like they put it in that mentality of generations that it was bad, so people just ignored it for years, and then like the war on drugs made it okay to have hate towards it. Or it's. I guess it actually increased it.
The war on drugs then spawned freaking DARE. Remember the whole DARE program, and then they even stated in the article that there was no even proven stuff that this would even work, or no data to back any of this. Like, it was just. It's messed up when you're looking back on history, like, because we didn't live during that time, the 70s, 80s. Obviously in the 90s we were born, but we weren't paying attention to it.
I mean, I didn't know. I was a kid.
Like, that's such messed up shit that's happened.
Oh yeah.
And people have gone through. It's affected families. Like it goes down
Generations.
generations,
Man. Because think about it. If your grandfather was arrested for having a joint in the 70s, 50s, whatever, like then that's going to affect your whole income for your whole family, right? Because that's a whole different life now your family has to live, all because of that. So you're talking about generations having to try to bounce back from this, you know? And then the whole time, like, and that's what I was trying, I mean, even from 36, but from 36 to 71 to the 90s when Reagan revamped it and started doing all those, like, raids, like SWAT-style raids, right?
What, the no-knocks?
The no-knocks, right, exactly. And then, like, it just keeps ramping up the racist and ties to poverty, to the people who, you know, because honestly, at the end of the day, cannabis hasn't been that expensive till recently. You know, you used to get weed for dirt cheap.
No, and now they're coming in and trying to make money off of the plant that they've wanted to prosecute and charge people for growing it for years. They want to throw you in jail, and that's what's so messed up when states vote in laws where you can't even still grow the plant. And I bring it up every freaking time
because it's just control again.
It's like, what? How is it legal at that point?
The governmental control has been so much tied with cannabis. It's like annoying.
We got a couple comments on Facebook. Let me see. Dave Cobb goes, because prisons became for-profit industry, 100%. Welcome to the hypocrisy that is America. Nick goes, I'm stoned off Cali weed. It's funny.
I'm not getting half these comments, though. I didn't get any of those comments you read. That's funny.
Dave also goes, I say cannabis out of respect for the plant, and I dare you to prove it. As in going
well, Dare failed, man. Dare I mean, come on, look at us.
Well, it kind of worked on me. No, I mean, I didn't really smoke, but
that was our
naive.
We grew up in the suburbs. Like, we didn't know weed. Like, weed wasn't that common, at least it wasn't in my neighborhood.
No, it wasn't. I was more drawn to sports at the time.
Well, especially because my dad was a big fan of calling it dope, and he tied this whole thing in my head like I was going to die. So I'll be honest, I was naive for most of my life until I said fuck it and just sent it and tried it. You know?
Strange candy.
Thanks for the rosin, Native.
Yeah, shout out on that, man.
Very mucho. But yeah, the war on drugs has been nonstop and going for so long, you know, and at the end of the day, it's always been tied into some type of oppression towards a type of people, whether it be the color of their skin or how much money they make, or just like holding back people. Like, you know what I mean? It was always used as a governmental control for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, what's the difference between alcohol and all these other drugs? You know what I mean? Like, in like Oregon, you know how they did it? Like, it shows you that the war on drugs has gone from that, 1936, 72, 90. Look where we're at with Oregon. Granted, state to state, we still have a long way to come. But I'm just saying, look at the progression.
Right.
You know, we're finally getting to a point where we're seeing, like, a change.
Do you think we're going to head into that direction of Oregon based off of how the war on drugs has completely failed the American people in the last, 40, 50 years? But before you answer that question, we should give a shout out to the sponsors.
Yeah, do that. I got to think about that too. Yeah. So go ahead.
So shout out to the sponsors. I want to start off with DNK Growers. Do you prefer quality over quantity at an affordable price? Do you like craft cannabis? Check out DNK Growers out of Lansing, Michigan at www.dnkgrowers.com. Everyone deserves great flower at an even better price.
Yep. And are you looking for new seeds for your next harvest? With over 100 genetics from Michigan breeders, look no further. You can check out Seed Hub in Lansing or check out seedhub.shop. At checkout, use code Micannacast15 to save 15% off your seed order nationwide. And don't forget, free shipping.
Do you use topicals? There's CBD tinctures. Want to try CBG or CBD gummies? Check out Nino's Naturals. Use promo code MyCanna15 at checkout. On the website is www.ninosnaturalcbd.com and save 15% on your next CBD order.
Yep. And that's free shipping, anything over $50. So really appreciate that. And with that same code, Actually, we just did that code. I'm sorry.
Yep,
My bad. Thank you. And then if you haven't, since we talked about it with Hash Bash so much, if you haven't checked out the first microbusiness in Ann Arbor, Winewood Organics, all organic, gotta appreciate that. Use code Micannacast to receive 35% off your first order, and that's an extra 10% off your first order. And support local. Appreciate it, and honestly, appreciate all the sponsors showing us love.
Yeah, thank you all. Back to the show, guys.
Yeah,
thank you for that break. But going back to that, do you think we're going to see more states decriminalizing not just cannabis, but do you think we're going to see decriminalize? Because we're seeing it with mushrooms now. Like we just saw a Hash Bash. Yeah. Oregon just went with all drugs. The war on drugs failed across the board. I see it going with the plants and fungi for sure decriminalize. I'm curious though if in the future they would decriminalize all drugs in America. I don't know about that. I for sure could see the plants.
I mean, man, let's just get cannabis decrimmed first, and then we can worry about all drugs.
That is just pretty insane over on Oregon, but pretty cool.
No, I mean, well, I guess okay.
Because then you're not putting money. You're not really.
Let me ask you something. The war on drugs definitely affected cannabis, but do you think the internet and all that, the growth of the internet and information being so accessible kind of is also helping cannabis change its stigma and the war on drugs? Because people are seeing oh, it works in different places, and they see how crazy it is in Thailand, and they're like, whoa, I don't want to get beat for smoking weed. But then Oregon's striving, and they're legal, and then now people are putting you can get clean syringes, because that's another thing too is. Sorry to go back on this war on drug things, but in the 90s, there was a lot of push for getting clean syringes, because there was the HIV and AIDS epidemic, right? Yep. And that kind of was spread from the war on drugs, because they're oh, drugs are bad, and Clinton was gonna do something, but he didn't, and then
isn't that what all presidents
well, that's what I'm saying. In the 80s, they didn't let you do the clean needle programs, right? I think it was the end of the 80s, and then same thing with the 90s, right? So they just kept making it worse and worse for people who use drugs, and it's only now that we realize it's a mental health crisis. It's not like a drug. I mean, it doesn't just start with drugs. We all have issues, and we find comfort in the drugs. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So I smoke weed. People dealing with people on a daily basis. No, I just love cannabis, dude. Just love some Mary Jane.
Yeah, and
Dave goes, I used to buy joints in the smoking area in high school.
Yeah. But see, when was that? That's got to... See, again, though, but people have been smoking weed throughout the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, throughout this whole time. Oh, yeah. But it's just persecution was insane. I mean, look at John Sinclair, right? Get thrown in jail. People are getting thrown in jail for, years over small drug offenses. To now, they would be put it out. Where now you could smoke weed in a bar and they're just going to put it out, please. You know what I mean? In public. And people will just be eh.
Well, that's how it should be, man. It's not harming anybody.
But look at the difference between war, the start of the war on drugs to now. Yeah, it's crazy how much it's changed.
Well, because it's failed and people are seeing the effects of it failing. You're seeing Colorado now be legal for almost 10 years now. I think they went legal in 2012. Yeah. 2013. I don't know. But when they went legal, I mean, that was a huge step. We've had medical since 96, 97 with Cali, slowly turning the tides with that. And then Colorado goes legal, and you don't see the bad propaganda happening. It's not driving under influences increase. It's not like you're seeing bad stigmas with cannabis continue. You were seeing dollars. You were seeing people shopping. You were seeing tourism. You were seeing a booming industry. And then eventually you're starting to see, okay, well, we're going to start doing research on the plant. And hey, look, they're looking at terpenes, looking more into the plant, looking at more of the cannabinoids. We're not just talking CBD now. We're talking more CBG, CBN. What other cannabinoids are in the plant? What terpenes are on there? The industry is slowly changing, which is knocking down
education, the internet. I think that kind of correlates to it finally. I don't want to say finally dissolving, but we're getting... I feel like we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. How long that tunnel is, I have no idea.
Right.
At least as far as cannabis goes, I can't say with all drug use, but like I said, you're starting to see people put needle machines, clean needle machines in libraries. I forget, I just read an article about that. You're seeing change. No, but these are necessary. Methadone clinics are necessary because otherwise you're forcing them to go to the trap house and do drugs, man. And Like we lost, like heroin's one of those things that you always go back to. Yeah. But if you had somewhere safe to go where they could like let you use the drug and then talk to a therapist or some type of counselor, man, you might actually work through those mental issues, right? Like,
yeah, might be able to talk to
so,
somebody
and that's kind of why I've even changed my life because I used to be nervous about those programs because I didn't understand it. And then like once like even like going through this podcast, I finally learned that if you give someone a safe spot to do it, like in that sense controlled, you add some counselors, like they have a chance to get out of it. Otherwise, it's going to be that not systematic. It's going to be that repetition of just going back to the drug that made me feel better. And again, making it feel like it's all wrong, and that's why it's cool to see cannabis, how far it's come from war on drugs. But it's like, look how much war on drugs has just fucked up people and mental health and the whole world's view on drugs. Because the truth is, you got a mental health issue, and you're sad, and this is self-inflicting. It's like alcoholism, right? It's self-inflicting. It's not like you're out there like causing harm from getting too high off weed. You know what I mean? Heroin, maybe crack, meth, like cocaine, like these heavier ones, yeah. But it's just, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. The war on drugs has affected so much more.
It has. I mean, it's messed up generations, like we said. It's been a huge part of a sore thumb and sore side into society here in America. I mean, you're saying we have more people in jail in America than like other countries around the world. Like, come and think about that.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Like, what? Like,
yeah.
That shouldn't be. And anyone in jail for cannabis in any legal state should be out of jail. And we're still fighting for people that are in jail for any nonviolent offenses to be out. Like,
it should be. I mean, honestly, we're just getting things expunged now. Like
it's like a slow process. Slow. Yeah.
Right, but when there's money to be made, it's fast all of a sudden. It's crazy.
Well, exactly. You went legal in the state with not even like what was.
Ryan brought up a good point about the insane how the Fed started after legal weed was first, like legal-ish. That's why I always say that because it was legal in our city, right? It was legal in Michigan, but like, just suppose we're getting raided. This was happening. This was happening. Like,
I mean, Jungle Boys just got raided last month.
It's very slow.
Like. A legal shop in Cali got raided.
Well, you're right. So that's
it's still even happening, and that's that stuff needs to change. How can you raid a legal business that's paying $1 million in taxes?
Well,
and then you take more money.
How can a legal business not have safe banking?
I mean, what? Yeah, I know.
Like the government will take the tax money, but they won't be like, you can. So where's the money? Like,
so you can't get a loan, but you guys gotta have cash.
Then they make up quotes for how much the black market makes. Like what? You know what I'm saying? It's so wild. And, I mean, like I was sort of brainwashed from my father thinking that weed was dope and it was connected to this very strong drug. And I didn't know shit about fuck. I didn't know.
Ozark.
Yeah.
I actually just started the season of the new one.
That's funny. But, like, you just don't know. Until you know, right? And it's just like, Andy even said it best in the comments, I think is the best way to say it. Like, you didn't know how DARE worked until you realized how flipping stupid it was. Like, it did work. They tricked you because you were a kid and you're like, they're older. They're telling me the truth, right? You're naive. Unless you had a rough upbringing, but you're really relatively naive as a kid. So.
Nick's got a great comment on Facebook, stop arresting people for possession. Dave goes to the joint. He goes late 70s, early 80s, class of 1980. Laugh my ass off dating myself. That's great.
Yeah, but that's okay. So that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Thank you, Nick, for saying that about the stop arresting people for possession. Because absolutely, think about that. In that video, it said half of those people that were that 400,000 or whatever, I couldn't remember the hundreds of thousands. Half those people were possession. Like, are you serious? You're gonna throw people in jail? Like, you're gonna waste tax people's dollars on
possession, like
on
small
possession
amount.
charges? Like, in no way do I think Johnny Stoner is gonna like threaten me or anything. You know what I mean? Let Johnny Stoner be Johnny Stoner.
Lizzie mentions John Oliver just did a great segment on safe use clinics. Highly recommend it.
Oh, see, that's my point. Like, there's perspective is changing on drugs, because people have seen how bad other epidemics have been from misunderstanding. So now it's like, all right, weed needs to be in the past, right? We need to focus on these other drugs that are messing up society. Focus on the ones that are killing people, like fentanyl.
Yeah, you have the opioid epidemic going ham still. That's been going on for years now.
And they prescribed it. Like half of those were started. Like our buddy started from a fucking leg injury, and it's like, oh man, like you can create patients to make profits, but the second those patients ask for help, without just wanting, you can't make money off it. Meaning mental health. Oh, all of a sudden it's like, well, can't just be mental health. Yes, yes, it is. Some people just need to talk to people. So
yeah, sometimes that's all you need.
Because it's a mental health. The war on drugs should have been a war on mental health, but of course we had Nixon, you know.
Nixon and Reagan both were horrible.
Well, and that's like I said, it was revamped by Reagan because it was
and then
pretty
even
much
under
like
Bush,
a lot of hate in 70s and
Bush didn't do much good either, though. He came in.
Neither did Clinton, though. It wasn't until we
in.
hit Obama, really, and then Trump was just like, let the states do whatever, just kind of following winds off Obama.
He did suck though when he had Attorney General Sessions. Sessions was the worst Attorney General you could ever have. You compared weed to heroin.
Oh, I get it. Trust, we were scared. Remember, we're like, oh shit, and then Trump didn't do anything. We're like, oh fuck, okay, thanks. Just
there's like a complete difference between heroin and cannabis. So, like, what, like, crazy, man. It was just wild. It's just wild. And then hopefully, I don't have much faith in the administration right now. I'll be honest with you. So, we'll see what happens with
Bobby
the bills.
Westside, what's up, fam? He said, not to mention the 5 years over a dime bag of Reggie. Yeah, man. I mean, we were talking about that earlier, but like that's the whole point is they were forcing with the Rockefeller Laws from the 70s, essentially long sentence terms on, you know, people that were possessing cannabis. And because technically people were like fancy, like again, the rich and famous or whatever were doing cocaine, they're like pointing all this hate on weed and crack because it was on low income and people of color, right? And it was much easier to jail those people than the rich and with that are doing cocaine, even though it's the same shit as crack. So it's like,
just unfair. It's unjust.
Well, because the media painted this bad, government and media team worked on this bad image that just added to the oppression already.
Yeah, what was it? Reagan's wife, I think it was. It
Nancy,
had the
Just Say No campaign.
Yeah, Just Say No campaign, which was like stupid, ridiculous. Like,
makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't know. You can just see, like, looking back, it's so easy for us because, like, we grew up with, you know, seeing it change and seeing the racist ties and you know what I mean? Like, granted, like you said, you were naive until we started smoking, but once we started smoking, you start seeing it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, right. Clinton was like, "You want some cocaine? Here you go." That's funny. Like, right? It was cool to do cocaine, but then like crack, oh, it's a problem, and then like no one wants to help crackheads. But it's like that's the same shit. You ever seen a cokehead when they're fiending? Yeah, they look fiendy. Like, I mean, allegedly. You know what I mean? But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, and then there's like real drugs like fentanyl and. You know, Nick says carfentanil. No, I don't know. And then there's a lot of crazy drugs out there. You know, but now they want to get in the tax money by legalizing it. Says Bobby on IG. Yeah, man. Like, and that's like
because
what that
we're in
video
so much
points
debt.
out.
They're trying to make money everywhere now.
Well, I get that, but
I'm
like,
surprised there's not another tax they're trying to throw in something.
But it's so funny how fast it's okay to move fast when there's money to be made, but when it's like getting people out of jail, it's an issue. Like getting people out of jail saves tax money. Like, but then here's the issue. All these prisons and fucking jails are private owned. Yeah. So someone's making money off it. And that's the issue. Like they shouldn't be profit. Like prisons shouldn't be for profit.
No,
like they should be like government programs.
No.
With decent funding and like that's it. Like, and actually getting the people out of jail with non-violent crimes, because then you could put people in there like, you know, that are like raping and doing horrible things.
Yeah, they shouldn't be out in society.
Murder, shit.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, this is a crazy topic, war on drugs. I didn't realize how sensitive.
It is, it's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Lizzie says, now we're on the Say No to STEMs campaign. Hilarious. But, yeah, things have changed. I mean, like, do we need, I mean, and that's like, you know, there's just so much to all of this war on drugs, and it's generational. It's going to take generations to get it back. Too, and that's why decriminalization of cannabis and safe banking are so crucial to this era of cannabis being even looped in with all this bad shit.
I know,
because like it's still scheduled above cocaine, even though cocaine is the same thing as crack, and that was an epidemic. how is weed making you money? And like some of the most successful people are smoking weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So wild. Like I'm glad for the internet a lot for all this, because now the media doesn't control information. I mean, it does to a degree, but you can do your own research with reading and digging. You know, you can choose.
Well, yeah,
to see
with the internet, there's so much access. Unless you're in areas that it's restricted, then obviously you can't. But here in America, you're able to pretty much surf the net. Like, and I think that is contributing to a lot of the factors of cannabis going, like you said, going legal or more medical in more states going forward. I mean,
yeah.
You're seeing how good it is. I mean, it truly is. It's not like it. People have had bad experiences, but the goods outweigh the bad completely.
Well,
and it could have just been one bad strain, one bad smoke, you know.
Yep.
So I was, those. Oh, I had tried it one time, it just wasn't good. So
yeah.
Hopefully, in the years we see more. Hopefully, we see decrim and safe banking happen, like you said. I'm excited to see how Detroit's rollout works out and how fast they get these licenses out there. I'm curious when the first consumption launch in Detroit happens. They're starting them April 20th, so we will see. That'll be interesting. We'll be staying tuned to that. I like how it's right on 420, though, to be honest. That's kind of cool. Speaking of 420, we'll be doing something for 420. We'll let you guys know soon.
Or something. Yeah. We'll be looking out.
And then also everyone that went out to Hash Bash. That was a great experience. Shout out to everybody. Had a great time.
Oh, Bobby Westside has a couple cool questions. What are we smoking on and strain of the week? We've just been smoking on some random genetics. I think we smoked on.
Okay, so yeah, we smoked on Baker's Dozen.
And then we did a dab of
Strange Candy, which is a mix of Fresh Coast seeds, a bunch of different flavors.
Yep.
Two different flavors or something, which came in the Strange Candy.
Strain week of the meat for me would probably be Orange Push Pop, which I got a cart from Winewood, organic, 6% plus terps.
That was good.
Low temp cart right here. I loved it. Orange Push Pop probably for me, because I really liked the terps off of dabs. Concentrate.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree with you on that. That was pretty flavorful. That was the one new item I had this week. Would be the Orange Kush Pop.
Yeah, it was great at Hash Bash.
That was very good. Actually, the Hoobie was pretty good, but I'm blanking on the flavor of it, so that was pretty
Banana
good.
OG.
The Banana OG with skunk hash, I think. No,
it was like a mix. It was skunky hash. So
skunky
it was like there's skunkier flavors. Yeah,
that was pretty good. I enjoyed.
I did enjoy smoking some hash.
I appreciate those questions, my dude.
But yep, I mean, yeah, definitely appreciate everyone coming in today.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. We'll be going live this Saturday, 9 a.m. Back as normally scheduled, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So come join us, Wake and Bake. We have a new episode dropping tomorrow, 4:20 Eastern. Check out the audio on all your streaming platforms. If you want to check out the video, it's on YouTube. Yep, special guest, True Terpenes.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned that.
So much information about terpenes from Derek that surpasses our understanding, because he's had training in it and years of training in it. So very cool. Definitely, hopefully, probably gonna be chatting with True Terpenes. So doing stuff on Terp Talk with us. So it's stay tuned.
Yeah. And other than that, that's it, Groovy. I got nothing else. Ready? Yeah.
All right. And hey, as always, we're here to advocate,
educate,
and inspire. See ya.
Peace.